Good afternoon, everyone. Oh man, I'm out of practice. It's been a while since I've seen more people in this room. My name's Aaron Espinoza, and I'm the Library and Observatory Director here, and I want to thank you all for being here this afternoon. If you have not seen, we have some upgrades to the facility. We've redone our carpet, got some beautiful lighting that we had last year, but we've done a few improvements, painted the facility, really trying to take pride in our community room because so many of you will be here many times throughout the season, and we're very thankful for that. If you have not already, and I hope you all have, but if you have not got your program guide for the months of September through November, please do so. We have so many programs happening. If you take a look at the very back, you'll see the calendar. For October, I think there's Friday, October 3rd is the one day we don't have a program happening at some place in our facility. So we have a ton going on, so please come to all of our programs. Our programs are sponsored by our Library and Observatory Foundation. Our donors are the ones that make these programs free to the community. So if you are interested, we have opportunities to donate here in the building or online, but we do count on our community members to help us fund all of our programming and all of our collection development, whether that be a physical book or our digital materials. Everything is sponsored by our foundation, so we're very thankful for our donors and our foundation board. Before we go any further, I cannot tell you how excited and proud I am to have Shannon come back for another season. Don't tell her this, Shannon, close your ears, but she is probably one of my favorite presenters all year long. We just have so much fun with her. We get to see all this. Unfortunately, our audience does not get to taste the food at the very end of this, but our staff does. So, I'm sorry? You'll volunteer. Yeah, unfortunately, there's these laws that we have to abide by that just, but anyways, without further ado, I want to introduce Shannon Bush.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm almost speechless. That was so sweet. Thank you. Oh, well, truly, this is one of my favorite things that I do throughout the year, and it's because of the people here. They are so good to me. They're so kind. It's such a beautiful facility. It's like being home being here. So I'm so grateful to be here and hopefully invited back many more times over the years to come. Wow, that caught me off guard. Hi, everybody. Oh, we got my Japan buddies here. I've got some faces I recognize. And then, is anybody brand new today? Yay! Welcome. Glad you're here. I don't normally do this. The purpose of this class is just to show you guys, anybody, you don't have to be a vegan or a plant-based person. Just if you're someone that eats, I hope you find something of value in my classes. But every once once in a while somebody asks me, why? Why are you plant-based? There's usually one of three reasons, or maybe all three reasons that I find that people are plant-based. One, the health data. There's clear, concise data that shows that eating a plant-based way is better for you. Two, maybe a love of animals. I know that one resonates with me. I've always loved animals, and I've always wondered that, who back when decided that we're going to love and cherish and pay the vet bills for our dog, but we don't really care what happens to the pig or the cow. I mean, who decided that? And then three, the environment. We know that animal agriculture really does a number on our environment. So, my grandmother used to say, I'm old, what do I care? And I thought, well, what about me? What about your great-grandkids? What kind of world are we leaving to those that come after us? So many times people do this. They set themselves up to be the butt of all the jokes about being a vegan, all of the eye rolls. Why do we put up with that? Usually because we connect with at least one of those reasons. For me personally, it's all three. But that's the why. Yay! Okay. We have new carpeting, and I'm just thinking, please don't let me be the one to make the first spill. So if you see anything here in the front row, I didn't do it. I'm going to make some entree salads for you today. They're all easy to make. They're all really hearty salads. And I think something anyone can tackle. The first one I'm going to make, I'm not doing it in order. I'm going to make the broccoli slaw first. I don't think that's the first one on your recipe sheet. But I'm going to tackle that one first because the little crunchy topping that goes with this salad tastes best if it has a little bit of time to marinate in the salad dressing. So I'm going to get that one going first, and then by the time the library staff get to eat their lunch later, it should taste just right. So yes, if you're new, I'm sorry, I wish I could hand out samples to everybody, but basically what you're doing is watching me make lunch for the library staff. But I do hope that you'll be inspired to go home and make some of these salads yourself. If you want to earn brownie points with me, I get really ridiculously excited when someone makes the recipe, takes a picture, and emails it to me. Hint, hint, that just makes my day. So I have a file at home, and it's all recipes from students, and I just look through it, and it just makes me so happy. So very large hint there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use these common everyday ramen little packets. If I can open the bag. Let's see here. There we go. Hands are too slippery. Okay, we're getting out the knife, which is covered with butter. There we go. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is to kind of keep the package intact, and I want to pull out that little sodium bomb packet, and I'm going to toss that in the garbage. I'm going to use 2 packs of it. Doing my best to keep the packages intact because I am going to break up the noodles. And the easiest way I found is with my mallet. All right. That should do it. The dish towel helped me from making too big of a mess as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start this on a medium-high heat. I've got a little bit of the some avocado oil, plant-based butter in the pan. And I'm going to go ahead and add my noodles that are hopefully broken up. A question? Yes, and by the way, I welcome questions. Chances are if you have a question, someone else probably has the same question. So yes, go ahead.
What I'm curious is like certain brands that you use, like the vegan butter, do you prefer one over the other or healthier option? Because there's so many out there. They have like, what is it, cashew butter, then they have the other ones. But I just would kind of like to find what have in your experience that they're the healthiest.
Yeah, so the question, sure. The question is about plant-based butter. And, do I have a preference? Do I recommend a particular one? So I have to tell you, you touched a sore spot because my favorite plant-based butter was just discontinued. Trader Joe's had a wonderful store brand butter that came in a block. And it was made in Germany, and the base of it was fava beans. So it was one of the healthier options, and it tasted fantastic. But it's gone. What I try to do is, my husband has to, one of the reasons he's plant-based is because to keep his cholesterol levels under control so that he doesn't have to go on medication. And one of the few plants that you have to avoid if you have cholesterol issues is coconut. And many of them have a coconut oil base. So I really just try and look for anything that doesn't have mostly coconut oil in it. Maybe we can all sign a petition to Trader Joe's to bring back the...
I did that, and I brought back the sweet potato fries.
Oh, really?
Gone for like 6 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Call that 1-800 number, Trader Joe's, and you can report it. If they get enough, they'll possibly bring it back.
Well, you don't say.
Is it Trader Joe's brand fava butter, or how's it?
Yeah, the main ingredient was fava bean.
Okay, when I get home, I'm calling.
Wow. Did I speak to the right person today or what? The one I just used today is an avocado oil-based butter. It's one of the inexpensive brands. I can't think of the name of it. Does it say on the... And I buy this one, Country Crock plant butter. I buy this one once in a while when I'm doing a lot of baking because it comes in the individual sticks like regular butter, so it's easy for measuring. I just made 90 scones for someone, so I had a bunch of that on hand for my scone making. But really just read the ingredients. If you do not have issues with cholesterol that likes to creep up, maybe some of the coconut ones are fine for you. But just, I avoid those because of my husband. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to cook these until they brown. And now that the noodles have gotten a head start, I'm going to add some sesame seeds. Thank you.
I have a question about if you don't eat ramen noodles, what could you do instead?
Do you not eat any kind of noodle? Oh, okay. Well, I tell you, I think you could just make, do you do the nuts and seeds? I would just use more nuts. What you're doing, or the purpose of it, is to add a crunchy element to your salad, and you can achieve that with the nuts and the sesame seeds. I would just do more nuts. Sure. So about a tablespoon sesame seeds. And about a cup or so of almonds. Sometimes I use the slivered almonds, sometimes sliced almonds like I have today. I'm going to put the rest of that. Avocado oil butter. Yeah, you're welcome. It's available at Walmart, possibly Target. It doesn't have the cleanest ingredients out there, especially not compared to the fava bean one that I fell in love with at Trader Joe's. But it's convenient if you're baking and you want to, substitute plant butter for regular butter in a baking recipe. Okay, so this part isn't too exciting, but we're just waiting for these to lightly brown. And you have to be really careful when you do this because they can go from brown to blackened in no time. Can you guys smell it yet? Yeah? All right. I'm going to start assembling the salad. Ah, okay. So I'm going to use broccoli two different ways in this salad. I've got some nice organic baby broccoli, and I'm just going to give that a rough chop into bite-sized pieces. Don't let me burn these. Okay. Done with this guy. Baby broccoli or broccolini. Sometimes it's labeled baby broccoli, sometimes broccolini. You can use the regular mature broccoli, but I like how tender this is, and I think it's a little more flavorful when it's... Sure.
I see you chop that so nicely with that knife. And I eat a lot of the squash and stuff. What type of knife do you recommend for vegetables? Because they're really, you could lose some knives trying to cut stuff. I would like to buy a real nice one, then I can use it to cut up like what you just did.
Sure.
Possibly make from squash.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is you should go to Japan with us in the spring because we always go to the knife maker's shop, and I always come home with a couple of knives. But my favorite knife that I recommend to everyone is a blade shape rather than a brand. So my knives that I use here, most of them are Hinkle, which is a German brand. But with my Hinkle knife, I have a Japanese blade called a Santoku blade. And what's distinct about the Santoku blade is it's sturdy enough to chop something like a root vegetable that's really hard and sturdy, or a squash that you mentioned. The blade is really wide. It's really nice for, transferring stuff. But it's also thin enough and sharp enough to cut a soft tomato like paper thin. So Santoku in Japanese, I think the translation is 3 virtues. So chopping, slicing, what's my other virtue? Maybe dicing, something like that. But anyway, every major knife maker makes a Santoku knife. So it'll be shaped like this. You can get them different lengths. This one, I think, is the 8-inch. It's a wonderful all-purpose knife. Okay, we're getting there. All right, so we've got our the fresh broccoli. Now I'm going to add some pre-made broccoli slaw. So it's broccoli and carrot that's been shredded. Someone asked if it's from Trader Joe's. It's actually from Whole Foods. I think Trader Joe's carries one. I think so. So it comes with a little bit of carrot in it, but not enough for my taste. So I'm going to add some additional shredded carrot. I'm also going to add a little bit of red onion and a little bit of green onion. And let's see how we're doing here. Almost. And then I pre-made the dressing at home today. But it's a really simple dressing with apple cider vinegar, some soy sauce, some avocado oil, which is my oil of choice for everything, for dressings, for cooking, for baking. It's considered a little bit, I don't know, I never want to say oil is good for you, but a little less bad than many of the other types of oil out there. It used to be really expensive, but it's gotten much more affordable in recent years. Sure. That's a great question. What's the difference between regular sugar and vegan sugar? For starters, any organic sugar is going to be vegan sugar. But what happens is that in the processing, standard sugar goes through a filter. And that's why the organic sugar is often has a brownish tint to it. It does not go through the same type of filter. So it's just like wine that goes through the fining process. To get rid of all of the pulp and the odds and ends and make it all uniform, it goes through a gelatin filter. So, do we know what gelatin's made out of? Hooves, yeah. So, if you want to let those animals keep their feet, you can buy either organic sugar, or there's several non-organic brands that say on the label that they're made with they're vegan. So it's not that regular sugar has an animal product in it, it's just we use an animal product in the processing. And wine is the same way. Well, it's not, but the reason, if I had to guess, the reason for those instructions, and by the way, I use the organic sugar from my hummingbirds and have for years, and it's fine. The problem is it doesn't dissolve as easily as white sugar. The pieces are larger, there are irregular pieces in there that are a little bigger, a little smaller. You have to give it a little more effort to get it to dissolve. So I suspect that's what it's all about. Because if you don't get that sugar to dissolve, the bottom of your feeder will get that hard glump of, yeah.
It's going to be kind of funky because mine's pure monk. It doesn't have the original.
Yeah, you probably could if you like the taste of that. Maple syrup is a great way to sweeten salad dressings and sauces. Yeah. I'm starting to feel like this is never going to cook. Do you guys feel the same? I'm going to turn it up just a tad. Sure. I think the taste that it would add would clash with the salad, but that's personal opinion. I don't care for any of the substitutes, but if that's something you're used to eating and you like the taste or you don't mind the taste, I mean, give it a try. But, oh, stevia does? Oh. The question was substituting, is it okay to substitute stevia? So.
So if I could just add, because I don't do any sugar, I do complete plant-based.
Uh-huh.
I don't do sugar, I don't do oil, but what you can use instead of sugar is dates, whole dates to round up.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, that would be much better flavor-wise to use dates. Sometimes I have date sugar, which is just dry ground dates, and that's a great sweetener. I buy it every once in a while out at one of the date farms, and that works well. The only thing is it doesn't dissolve because it's a ground up piece of fruit, so it takes a while for those little tiny pieces to hydrate and kind of sweeten whatever you're using it in. But that is a good option. All right, I've turned it up. We're getting there. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pour some dressing in the salad here. Get that mixed up. Going to pour a healthy amount in and see how that goes. Once that mixture goes in, the noodles will start to hydrate a little bit, so it'll soak up some of the moisture. So that's why I want to start off with a decent amount of moisture in here from the dressing. Did I use low salt soy sauce or regular for the recipe? I used the low salt or reduced sodium. It's not really low salt, but it has less than the regular. And then better still, I think it's the next recipe. I use coconut aminos to reduce the amount of soy sauce I use, and that's significantly less sodium than either reduced sodium. Thank you. We're all good, don't panic. Thank you. You guys have earned your keep today. So I'm going to add a little more of this and then add in It is an everything pan, yes. So I'm going to put most of it in here, and I'm going to reserve just a little bit to put on the top. So again, I just want to, can you hear it sizzling? Try and get my microphone. Yeah, well, it needs a few minutes for the noodles to hydrate a bit, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go back and chill it before serving it. It sort of ends up room temperature by the time you mix in the hot with the cold. All right, I'm going to use this bowl. Does it smell good? a little for the top. What do I do with my thing? All right, here it is. So the nuts and the noodles and the sesame seeds, they all take just a nice crunchy salad. They make it a little more hearty. And I think it's just delicious. It's loaded with colors. Remember, you want to eat colorful food because the different colors in the foods or the items represent different vitamins and minerals that you need. Thank you.
If you have leftovers, which you probably won't, but if you refrigerate that overnight?
You can refrigerate it overnight, yes. Only with leftovers. I wouldn't do it to serve it for the first time because the noodles do get soggy. And not horribly soggy because they are browned, but they're not perfect. How about that? Yeah, do your best to eat it all. Sure.
So, I know the almonds have a little bit of protein, but if you put protein in the solid, would you add like tofu or like fried tempeh or something that gave it a little bit higher level of protein?
You could. Someone is asking about increasing the amount of protein in the salad. I brought something with me. I spoke at a conference last weekend on nutrition, and one of the things that I used at the conference is I decided to type up a list of my favorite food myths. And I thought I'd bring it along today. I didn't know if I'd use it or not, but I'm going to now. Thank you. I'm glad you came today. Couple of things about protein. So one of the most interesting basics about protein is we think, or we've been led to believe, that protein comes from animals, right? So how does an animal come to have protein in his flesh? So protein is an amino acid chain. All protein originates in plants. So do you ever see the signs at the grocery store by the meat area and it says 100% grass-fed beef? So the animals have protein because they eat the plants. If we go to the animals for our protein, it's like going to the middleman in business, right? Why not cut the middleman out and go straight to the source? So that's one of my, just like to bust that myth, just in case people think, oh, if I'm not eating, animals have the protein, I need to eat the animals. The animals have the protein because the animals eat the grass and the grain. So the other part of that is we are bombarded with information that more protein is better. We need to increase our protein. We need to add more protein to every meal, to every day. So the interesting thing with that statement is the body has no way to store protein. So if my body needs 50 grams of protein a day, and by eating my plants that I always eat, let's say I get 60 grams of protein a day, what happens to that extra 10 grams of protein? My body, if I'm active, my body's going to release it through my urine. If I'm not very active, it can convert it to fat. So the benefit of eating lots of protein, it's pretty easy. Like without even trying, most people are probably going to hit what their body needs for protein requirements daily. So all of this, everything that we see out there telling us more protein, more, I wonder why. Because we can't store it. We can't use it once we've hit our daily max. So just food for thought on protein. Thank you. I'm glad you came too.
Plant-based, they say, how do you get your protein? I'm like, how do you get your vegetables?
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Good. Do you guys want to hear some more food myths? My favorite myths? Yeah. Okay. So I used to be guilty of this one. I used to say, oh, everything in moderation. I don't eat that stuff very often. You know, just once in a while. Moderation. Well, then I met Dr. Michael Greger, and I'm going to paraphrase one of his favorite statements. Sure, he says, sure, moderation is great as long as you're okay with moderate amounts of heart disease, moderate amounts of cancer, moderate amount of strokes. So yeah, moderation's fine as long as you're okay with moderate amounts of everything. The vegan diet is a fad that's going to pass. I've had people tell me that. And I just smile. And I say, well, okay, but what about the blue zones? Most people familiar with what the blue zones are? Okay. So people have been eating that way in those zones for hundreds of years. So is this a fad that's going to pass? I don't think so. I don't think this is the no carb, low carb, no fat, low fat, keto. I don't know. You can probably think of a dozen diets that have come and gone. But this is here to stay because it's been around literally for centuries. So if you're feeling like maybe I'm not going to hop on the bandwagon because it's just going to pass, don't wait. Join us now.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
I don't mean to challenge you guys. It's honestly a question.
Sure.
I am on the path of educating myself. And since you brought up Dr. Greger,
Yes.
because I've read the China study, I've read How Not to Die, I'm enthralled by these books. They're
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to wrap my head around are the things like in a whole food plant-based diet, you don't use any oil. You don't use like the vegan butter, the vegan mayonnaise, those fats and things. So how do you kind of put that together? Or is that the 20% of the benefits of the 80% of the whole food plant-based diet have shown statistically to do very well? Is
Yes.
that part of that 20 or that's what I'm wrestling with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So she's reading all of the great books that are out there. She knows about Dr. Michael Greger, who is one of my personal heroes. He's been my guest here at the library. He came and spoke, and then he was back last year or the year before for the Writers' Festival. And I'm hoping to get him back again soon because he filled the house, and he's really a great speaker. For those of you that don't know him, he has a nonprofit called nutritionfacts.org. And this man and his small staff go through every single medical, food-related nutrition study in the world, upload it to the website, and go through and highlight key findings of the studies. So it's an excellent resource. He doesn't want anyone to have a barrier to getting information. He wants it available to everybody for free. So let's say you're diagnosed with diabetes and you want to know what the latest nutrition studies say. You can go to that site. You can literally read the latest studies. It's a wonderful resource that he's providing. He's also part of something called the Plantrition Project, which is fabulous. It is a group of physicians that have formed this organization, and they have many goals, but one of the wonderful things they're doing is they're trying to push the U.S. medical schools to teach nutrition in their MD programs. You would think we'd already be doing that in this country. No. So you can look at plantritionproject.org. You can put in your zip code, and you can see if there's anybody in your area that is part of it. For a physician to be part of this organization, they have to pursue nutritional education on their own because their employers don't pay for it, and it wasn't available in medical school. So anyway, Dr. Michael Greger, fabulous. I'm glad you've read some of his stuff. And I hope to have him back here someday, so stay tuned.
Can we talk about the oil, though?
Oh, the oil, yeah. Did I go off on a little bit of a tangent? Yeah. So I have gone back and forth with how I cook for people over the years. I have found that when I first started doing this, and it was much more focused on whole foods, plant-based, rather than, just vegan food or plant-based food, it was much harder to draw people in. My goal with this platform up here is to introduce as many people as possible and to hopefully plant little seeds that will someday germinate to someone starting to eat this way. When it's much more extreme, for lack of a better word, people don't want to try it, not as many people. And I was just finding, I felt like I wasn't making enough of an impact. It is my biggest wish that more people will incorporate plants into their daily eating. And I felt like I couldn't reach very many people that way. So yes, I'm very well aware that I'm using oil, I'm using sugar. Sometimes I even use the meat substitutes. But these are, to me, they're tools to help people transition and make people feel like, well, maybe I really can do it. That's what I want to offer people. Yeah, you're welcome. No, not anymore. I have been teaching for quite a while now, and I get a lot more enjoyment out of that than being in a hot, sweaty kitchen that's chaos and mayhem and yeah.
Where else do you teach?
Just at conferences, fundraisers, just various things throughout the year.
And do you recommend any plant-based restaurants in the desert?
Yeah, we have a couple of great options. We have native foods, we have Chef Tanya's, and we have more and more restaurants that are offering something beyond just a burger. So, yeah, they're out there. Ask questions. Call ahead and ask. The more questions restaurants get, the more inclined they are to add things like that to their offerings. So, but yeah, just we do have 2 core restaurants where you can go in and order anything on the menu, which is pretty exciting if you're a vegan.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm going to go to the sesame crunch salad now. And before I do, I have show and tell. I was so excited to show you all this thing that I found in the supermarket. I couldn't wait. So there is a new cabbage available. Isn't it adorable? Doesn't it? It looks like a gnome. That's exactly what I thought. Oh. So, but then I looked at it and I thought, is some genetically modified, creature made up cabbage? But no, it's actually organic. This one is from Whole Foods, and this one is called a sugar cone cabbage. I just think it's adorable. And then Trader Joe's has one that they call a dewdrop cabbage that looks very similar, maybe not quite as pointy. But it's not in the recipe. I'm using Napa cabbage, but I just couldn't resist bringing it to show you all. You have to admit it's adorable. Okay, he's going back in the bag, and he's going to get turned into, I'm not sure what yet, at home. So, sorry? The fiber? Flavor, thank you. I've eaten the dewdrop one from Trader Joe's, but this is my first sugar cone, so stay tuned. I'm not sure. I did look up the company and try and learn a little about it, and one of the things I saw is that it's supposed to be a little sweeter and a little less sulfurous. So we shall see. Napa cabbage can be found at Whole Foods and probably the other big chains. Trader Joe's does not have it, but yes, Sprouts would have it. But yeah, I love Napa cabbage. So I'm going to do something that I did not put on your recipe sheet. I'm going to make this one a little heartier by adding some tofu, some crispy tofu. And I just have a block of sprouted tofu. I love sprouted tofu. It has a wonderful softness to it, but yet it's pretty sturdy. It doesn't fall apart like soft tofu. And because it's sprouted, there are some air pockets in it, so it's a little lighter, which means it's a lot easier to infuse it with flavor. I love the sprouted tofu. But I'm going to make it crispy, and I'm going to use my favorite technique, which is slathering it with cornstarch. And then I'm going to cook it in some avocado oil. And then I'm going to put a little bit of my sesame salad dressing on it to flavor it.
How do you feel about peanut oil?
I love it. It has a great flavor to it, peanut oil. But it definitely flavors things. The thing that I love about avocado oil, one, it has a very high burn point, so it's great for frying. But it has a very neutral flavor. So you can use it for anything. Baking, savory, sweet, you name it. So let's see, what kind of shape should we do for the tofu? I think maybe I'll just do some strips and chop them.
I'm not seeing that in the recipe. Is that?
This is a little bonus that's not in there. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just going to slice thin strips.
How long will your dressing last in the refrigerator?
Oh, easily a week.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so just have a bowl with some cornstarch. Just going to give it a nice coating. This is tofu that I drained. I gently squeezed it a little bit to get a little of the moisture out, and then I wrapped it in a towel. But you want tofu to be as dry as possible because any wet spots are really going to stick to your pan. And it's really frustrating to work really hard at your meal and then lose half of it to the bottom of your pan. So I'm wearing a watch now for the first time so that I don't run late. It's always been my excuse because I can't really see the clock in the corner over there, so now I have no excuse. So I won't keep any of you late for your afternoon plans.
Why did you use
Why am I using cornstarch? That's a great question. So if you thoroughly coat the tofu with cornstarch, the sides, everything, there is nothing on that piece of tofu that's going to stick to your pan. So no frustration. It's one key thing. But the other thing is that it makes this beautiful crispy coating on the tofu. And it's really nice to you have the soft flavored tofu, but have a crunchy outer layer. But the main reason in trying to teach people how to cook it, and then it's so easy, it sticks so easily to the pan, but this keeps that from happening. Okay, we're not quite there, really close. You bet. Yes, so coconut aminos has about a third the sodium as reduced sodium soy sauce. So you can do a 1-to-1 swap, but you might find that you need a little bit more sodium depending on what you're cooking.
How do you know when the pan is ready to cook?
As soon as I put something in there, it'll start to sizzle. And we're good. We've achieved sizzle. If I was at home and I had a water faucet nearby, I could get a little bit of water on my fingertips and flick it in there. And if it made a horrible noise, then I would know it was ready. But these are really, really coated with the cornstarch. And that is the key to keeping them from sticking. You can cube tofu and do this as well. I tend to make bigger pieces and then chop them up if I'm wanting small or cubed tofu, because when you cube it and you dump it in the pan, quite often the little cubes will all stick together and you're trying to pry everything apart. Yes? Probably nothing wrong, but what you can do, the technique that I use has me adding sauce at the very end before you remove it from the pan. And what happens is that flavor goes into that cornstarch coating, and cornstarch is a natural thickener, so it kind of works together to make a nice coating that's not starchy, or yeah, does that make sense? So the question was, when she uses a lot of cornstarch, she ends up, what was the way you described it? Oh, it tastes like cornstarch. So the key, I think, in my opinion, is just to add some sauce before you remove it from the pan. This is how I make, by the way, I had a new cookbook come out this summer, and one of the recipes in there is one of my favorite. It's a bacon, lettuce, and tomato and avocado salad. And so I spent the summer making tofu bacon at a bunch of different presentations. And this is the same technique that I'm doing now. It starts off with this, but at the very end, what I do is throw in some sauce that tastes, basically the seasonings that's used on real bacon, and put that in, and it cooks and coats the tofu. so that you have bacony tofu. But it's the same kind of thing. You need the cornstarch and you need to add a sauce.
Is there a way of listening to tofu without the oil, like an air fryer or process?
You can, if you cook it long enough, you can brown it like in an air fryer. I've put a lot of time and energy into trying to find a way to get a result I'm happy with without using oil. And I'm not there yet. To use less oil, like sometimes you can use like an avocado oil spray and just lightly mist the little tofu cubes and put them in the air fryer. But you still don't get that nice crispy, crunchy. And then cooking it long enough to brown it and get that crisp outer edge dries out the whole piece of tofu. So if there's a way to get a really nice result, I haven't found it yet. Well, one, it would stick. And two, I have issues with barbecuing, and that's just that's just me probably, but I don't barbecue things. And I know that's a really popular thing to do, and people love the flavor, but I always think about, let's say you wheeled your barbecue into your living room. What would happen? You would die very quickly from the fumes. So eating food that's been infused with those deadly fumes has never sounded right to me. So I don't barbecue things. I know it's just most people are really into barbecuing. I realize that, but it just personally, I don't do that. So don't look, for those of you that want to avoid the oil. Pretend you didn't see that. I'm not going to get the nice brown that I'm looking for if I didn't add just a smidge more. Hope there's, yeah, I've never set off a smoke alarm in here. I hope I don't start today. That would be exciting. No, I really hope not, because I'd love to be asked back. So I don't want to burn my bridges here. I'm being really careful of the carpeting. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, let's chop this Napa cabbage.
If you used a ceramic knife, would that prevent the lettuce from turning brown around the edges or not?
No, the only way to avoid your lettuce turning brown is to tear it. Well, yeah, eat it right away, but tearing it. So if I'm ever making a salad at home and I think there's a possibility of it not all being eaten, I'll take the time to hand tear it all. And that will help significantly. What happens is when you cut it with a knife, you cut through all of those different veins that are in the lettuce. You make a sharp cut. If you tear it, it doesn't tear straight. It kind of, so you don't cut all of those points that take moisture into the leaf. Does that make sense?
Was the metal reacting to the vegetable that caused the reddening or browning?
It's the cut. Yeah, you won't have it if you hand tear it. All right, I don't know if you can see these, but they're all crispy. None of them have stuck to the pan. And I'm going to let them get just the tiniest bit darker, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the salad dressing, and that'll infuse them with some flavor. Let's see. Coleslaw or cabbages are much sturdier than lettuce as far as, if you're worried about them turning brown. They have a much longer lifespan than, a traditional lettuce. So you don't need to be as careful. But I happen to know that this food is going to get scarfed up very quickly right after class today. So the other thing with the cornstarch is I have cornstarch remnants all throughout my pan. So when I add the liquid, it's going to thicken from meeting up with the cornstarch. And that'll make a nice thick sauce that will cling to my tofu. There we go. Okay, so this is just the salad dressing. I made a double batch then from what the recipe I gave you because I wanted to have enough to put some on the tofu. No, I don't like I love the seasoned rice vinegar. I use it on so many things. The flavor is just so much better. So seasoning with the rice, it means that they've added sodium and some form of sweetener. Okay. That is to give it enough sodium. If I just used the coconut aminos, it would taste like it needed a little bit of salt in this particular recipe. Yeah, you can. Tamari is high in sodium, like soy sauce. But you could lighten it. I basically am using the coconut aminos as a way to lighten the amount of soy sauce or sodium that's in there. I did not. Someone asked if I use black vinegar. I have not. Do you use it? Okay. Don't be afraid of the vinegar. No, give it a try. I'm going to put some English cucumber in there. In the directions, I probably said to seed the cucumber, but I don't think I'm going to need to with this English cucumber. No, the seeds aren't bad. If they were, like if you had a standard cucumber instead of the English, I would just take this tip of a spoon and run it down the middle. But it's not necessary with this cucumber. I pre-washed everything. Someone asked what my veggies are wrapped with. I pre-washed everything, and then if things were really wet, then I added something to absorb the moisture, paper towel. Okay, I'm going to add some red bell pepper, some shredded carrots, a little bit of red onion, and I have some sugar snap peas here that I'm going to slice.
Did you take the string off of them?
Only if necessary do I remove the string. These aren't stringy, so no need. Yeah, these are some nice ones. We've been buying these in my home all summer from Trader Joe's. They're not stringy, they're crisp, they're really nice. So I've done my best to make these recipes all colorful so that you're giving yourself a variety of nutrients with all these great colors. And my bell pepper. Let's see.
Are you planning to do a show on baking perhaps? Like something bready? Like breads or
Am I doing a class on breads? Well,
included in bacon?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because that is also on my favorite myth buster sheet that I have from the conference I spoke at. A lot of people think that being plant-based, that you should avoid gluten. That is not the case, and I'm not really sure how the two became linked, but not the case at all. Unless you are, you fall into the 1% of the world's population that unfortunately has celiac disease, you don't need to avoid gluten. Celiac disease is a condition, an autoimmune condition, and it's triggered by eating gluten. Gluten comes from wheat. In fact, gluten is actually the protein component in wheat. So it's an excellent source of protein to those of us that don't have celiac. So no need to avoid breads. Bread has a lot of calories, but there's nothing. It does, yeah. It's filling and delicious. So I'm going to take these guys. These are crispy. They're flavored with the sesame. Oh, by the way, some lucky winners are going to go home today with one of my favorite sesame oils over here. This is from Trader Joe's. It's toasted sesame oil. And this recipe's, the flavor is dependent on using toasted sesame oil, not regular sesame oil. But because this has already been heated and browned, I don't recommend cooking with it. It's best to use like in a salad dressing. You can. It would involve careful heating and then turning off the heat when it got to that brown point. It's a lot easier to go to Trader Joe's. I don't think they do. I am not going to go late. And they've been kind enough to give me, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they gave me an extra half hour. All those years I ran over my allotted hour, and they finally thought, okay, we'll give her more time. So I'm determined not to abuse that privilege of having more time here. Okay, I'm going to put this on, I think this platter. That. And now I'm going to chop up this tofu. Hear how crispy they are? Wow, they are extra crispy today. Okay. What is sprouted tofu? So, oh my gosh, I always stumble when I try to explain this. So, you can see a difference when you cut it open. You can see the little airy pockets, and you can almost see that it looks different. Exactly how it's made, I don't know, but it actually is higher in all of the great nutrients that tofu has. And then whenever I look it up, it always says, and easier to digest. I've never thought of tofu as being hard to digest, but if you do look it up, you will see that. But I can tell you that I like it because of the texture. It's lighter, but it's not super fragile like a soft tofu. So not a great answer or explanation. I do apologize, but okay. I would use medium, and then it would fall apart more easily than the sprouted. So I just sprinkled the salad with some black sesame seeds. And now I have some dry toasted almonds. And then I'm going to use some store-bought wonton strips for some added crunch. Sesame crunch salad. There we go. And I'm trying to decide if it has enough dressing, so when all else fails, I'm going to just drizzle a little for the rest of this on here. Okay, there is a sesame crunch salad with some added tofu. Hello. Thank you. Question? Well, without the sesame, it wouldn't be a sesame crunch salad. But you could substitute a different kind of nut if someone couldn't eat almonds. Yeah, sunflower seeds is a great idea. I mean, you could make the same thing using a different oil and not using sesame and not adding the sesame seeds, but it's kind of the star of the show in this case. So is anybody going to make some of these salads at home? Yay! Who's going to go the extra mile and send me a picture of your salad? Oh, don't toy with my emotions. You better send those pictures. Thank you. That's my biggest hope. I'm not here to convert anybody, trying to make you a vegan if you're not. I just hope you'll try cooking with new ingredients, use these new ideas. I'm just glad you're all here for whatever reason you are. The sprouted tofu came from Trader Joe's. So I'm really excited about this next recipe. Next Monday, I was given a huge honor. I was invited to cook lunch for a group of Holocaust survivors. And I am super excited. One of the things that was requested was, it just said, some type of salad with couscous. So my wheels started spinning. Okay, what can I do with couscous? Make something interesting. So this is it. This is the recipe. Get to try it out on you guys first. And then hopefully my very special lunch guests on Monday will enjoy it as well. I could put this away, but I like having it out. I don't know why. All right, so this one, I'm just going to start off with this serving platter and a bag of these beautiful organic greens. And I'm going to make a nice border around my platter.
Shannon, what's the secret of cooking couscous? Mine always get so soggy.
Just be careful with your measurements if you have trouble with your couscous getting soggy. And the other thing is, you don't actually cook it. You just bring your water to a boil, turn the heat off, and stir in your couscous and just cover it for about 5 minutes. All right. I'm trying to make a bit of a border around the outer edge of this plate. I want it to look pretty. And then I'm going to take the couscous and put it in the center.
Did you flavor the couscous?
So, good question. Did I flavor the couscous? I put a little bit of salt and pepper and a little garlic and onion powder.
Is the couscous from Trader Joe's?
Yes, it is.
The one in the purple box?
Blue box. And some lucky people are going to go home with their very own box of couscous today. You guys are going to be really impressed. We have a new and exciting way to give out the door prizes. Okay. So here's my little well of couscous. Great question. What is couscous? Strange name. What on earth is it? Its closest cousin would be pasta. It's there's two different kinds. There's this type, the really fine, tiny little bits, and then there are the tiny little balls. It's basically wheat and flour. I'm sorry, wheat and water. Flour and water. Just like a noodle. So, but a very different form. It's a really nice ingredient to use in a salad to make it heartier, more filling. All right, so I'm going to add some shredded carrot, give it a little color. And I have some beautiful orange bell pepper. You can cut these any way you like, of course. I'm just going to do small little squares. Probably enough. And I also have some nice tomatoes that I've halved. And the recipe calls for a couple of cups of vegetables. And you can do anything you want. Today, and I think on Monday, I'll do the same. I'm using a medley of potatoes. Some of my favorite potatoes. I've got purple potatoes, red skin potatoes, fingerling potatoes. So yeah, you can do whatever you like, but just, different things have different baking times, so be aware.
You know how long, like especially like little baby potatoes.
Uh-huh.
How long do you roast those?
Well, good question. There's different factors. How long do you roast the baby potatoes? I can't tell you a set time because different factors, and they're all different sizes. But what I do, the first thing I do is I go through them, and I try and make them all as close in size as possible. So if you have a couple of giant ones and all the rest are smaller, cut the giant one down so it's the same as the others. And then what quite often I will do is to par cook them in the microwave. That's what I did with the ones I'm using today. I put them in a microwave-safe dish, covered the top, and I put a little bit of water in there for steam, and I partially cooked them, and then I added them to my air fryer. And then I just poked them with a knife after 10 minutes. They weren't quite there, so I did another 5 minutes. I can't tell you they're exactly going to take X amount of time. I'm sorry. I wish I could make it easy. But if you do, like if you throw in some asparagus or something like that, that doesn't take long at all to cook. So if you're going to bake, use a cookie sheet in the oven, I would separate them so you can easily grab the ones that cook first and then throw the potatoes back in there, something like that. With these, I actually par-cooked the sweet potatoes first and longer because they're really hard and dense and they take a lot more time. So I'm just going to kind of artfully arrange these on here, hopefully.
What kind of vegan mayonnaise are you using? Or are you making your own?
Oh, with the salad dressing? On this one, I use the Best Foods vegan mayonnaise. I just happen to have that on hand. They do. So it used to be labeled vegan mayonnaise, but a year or two ago it changed to plant-based mayonnaise because vegan became a dirty word. And studies were showing that if something was labeled vegan, people would walk right by it or leave it on the shelf. So things are getting renamed plant-based. So if you're looking for it, look for Best Foods plant-based.
I use the Chosen, by the Chosen avocado people. They make the mayonnaise.
Do you like the flavor of that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I really spiced it up.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But
Yeah, there's some, in my opinion, some really bad ones out there, and then some are pretty good. I like the Follow Your Heart brand as well. That one tastes pretty good. And once in a while, I do make my own. But like with everyone, life can get busy. Sometimes you need to cut corners, save a little time. I'm going to put a little bit of a few pecan pieces on here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is drizzle a little bit of this. Well, it's my version of honey mustard. It doesn't contain honey. It has agave, but same difference. So, do you think my people will like this on Monday? I sure hope so. Yeah, honey is not vegan or plant-based. Honey does not contain animal products, but with honey, it's more about the animal ethics than the containing an animal product. Honey, well, it is, but it's more with the ethics that most vegans have an issue with. We treat animals and living creatures horribly. So what happens in the honey world is when a hive stops producing, if their production levels of honey go down, they don't let them continue on. They kill them, and they usually kill them by lighting the hive on fire. So they get burned alive when they stop giving us the quantity we're wanting. So stuff like that. That's so. Thank you. This would serve, I don't know, 4 to 6. One very hungry person. I don't know. Oops, I forgot one thing. Wait. Little green onion. There we go. All right, so don't go anywhere. You might be one of our lucky winners. Stephen, are we gonna try out our new exciting way of handing out door prizes? Your programs have a number on them. So if you're lucky enough to see your number up there, let me know. You have one too? Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. You're a winner. Lucky 13. Here you go. You're welcome. Who else? It's you? There you go. You're welcome. Here you go. You're very welcome.